چه تدبیری مسلمانان که من خود را نمیدانم. Did anyone understand it? No. This was the language. Well, we have three people who understood it, who know Farsi. This is the language of Rumi. He actually was born in a city called Balkh, which is in the border of today's Iran and Afghanistan. That whole region was all one country back then. He was born in the year 1207, which is over 800 years ago. And his name was actually Jalaleddin Muhammad. And then he became known as Jalaleddin Muhammad Balkhi because he was from the city of Balkh. And later they called him Molana Jalaleddin Muhammad Balkhi. So this was his name. Now, Molana actually means like my master, my guide, my refuge. So he was all that for a lot of people from early age. He was born in a very difficult time in history, which is not too different from the way things are going on in the Middle East these days, which means probably even worse. Mongols were invading from the east, and basically they had the simple system, which means you come to this, they would come to the city and burn it to the ground, and then move on to the next city, and so on. So he and his family started escaping from that region at the age of 13. But then as they were going to the west, they also noticed that crusaders are invading from the west to the east. So that whole area was in turmoil. And then, so he went to Iran, and then there he met a number of other Sufis and mystics, like Sanai and Attar, that some people may know about. So he wasn't the first mystic, actually. There were a lot of people before him, from a couple of centuries before he came. And then he finally, as you may know, resided in a city in today's Turkey, which is called Konya, in his 30s. And until then, he had not revealed any poem. Actually, he did not like poetry. He did not like poetry. The reason he started writing poems was because he said, when I write poems, people listen better. So he started writing poems. And then, in his late 30s, he came across a man whose name was Shams. You may have heard of Shams. And Shams was a very simple fellow. And this fellow, Rumi, now had a large congregation, from what I understand, over 10,000 people, who, believe it or not, were Muslims, Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians, from different religions. They liked his congregation better, like Richard's congregation. They had come to the conclusion that we all children of the same God. There is one God. He does not bring conflicting messages. This is all one and the same message. And we have created these divisions and separations. Let's all get together. So people liked it. And so every day he would reveal a new poem. And let me just also say that, mystics are of two types. One group of mystics in all religions believe that they should become totally unworldly, put everything aside, and just go to their church or cluster, whatever it is, and just pray and pray from morning to night, and just sleep, and then the next day the same thing, because they want nothing to do with anything else, anybody else or anything else. He wasn't of that type of Sufi or mystic. The second group of mystics were the ones who wanted to be of service to the humankind, because they saw the face of God in everyone, and they said, it doesn't make sense if you just go and pray all day and then do it the next day. We have to pray, we have to connect to God, but we connect to God through service to humanity. So he was of this second type of Sufis. One other thing about Sufis and mystics and the way Rumi was, is that most of us are trying to rationalize what God is and who God is and why my path is the best path and everybody else goes to hell and all that kind of stuff that you all know about. But he wanted to tell them that no, this is all one path. It's all chapters of the same book. Religions are chapters of the same book. God does not bring conflicting messages. It's the same message. renewed every age and every age to bring us all closer and closer together. This is the way he saw his mission and his vision. And one day, and he was now a very famous philosopher and theologian, an educator, and one day a very simple man whose name was Shams came and sat down in the back of that congregation and listened to him. And he noticed that this guy is new and is in his ragged clothing and all that, sitting there. And so he just went to him and said, "What did you think of my lecture today, my talk and my poems, whatever you were saying?" And he just said, "Not much, really." And he said, "Why not?" And he said, "Because you're too full of yourself. You just say too much about yourself and what you know. Calm down." So that really transformed Rumi at that time. It transformed him, and he loved this man, Shams, and he looked up to him. That if you really want to become godly, you have to become nothing. You have to become selfless. This is the path to God, not arrogance and saying how much I know. So with that, I'd like to share with you a poem from Rumi. What is to be done, O people? For I do not recognize myself. I'm neither Christian, nor Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, Gabr, nor Muslim. I'm not from the East or from the West. I'm not from the North or from the South. I'm not from this country or that country. I'm not from the sea or from the land. I'm not of nature's mint, nor of circling heavens. My place is the placeless. My trace is the traceless. It's neither body or soul, for I belong to the soul of the beloved. It's neither body or soul, for I belong to the soul of the beloved. I have put duality aside. I have seen that the two worlds are one. One I seek, one I know, one I see, one I call. From the beginning of my life, I have been looking for your face. He was talking about the face of God, but he was also talking about your face, and your face, and your face, and your face, because he was seeing God in everyone. From the beginning of my life, I've been looking for your face. But today I've seen it. Today I've seen the charm, the beauty, the unfathomable grace of the face that I was looking for. Today I found you, and those who laughed and who scorned me yesterday are sorry that they were not looking as I did. I'm bewildered by the magnificence of your beauty and wish to see you with 100 eyes. I'm bewildered by the magnificence of your beauty and wish to see you with 100 eyes. My arrow of love has arrived at the target. I'm in the house of mercy, and my heart is the place for prayer.